So musk, no, not that one. Musk in perfumes. It can be powdery, it can be creamy, be clean, or it can be dirty. Ethereal, or it can be heavy. It can be a heart note or a base note. But just why is it so varied? What is it? And why is it so popular in perfumes? Why do we love musk so much? And what is white musk? I had absolutely no idea, so I went away and did a bit of reading, and I'm going to share my thoughts on camera with you. So if you want to know the answers to all of those questions, please keep watching. Hello, so I'm Claire Smith and welcome to my channel. So if you haven't watched me before, then please consider subscribing if you haven't done already. I've got quite a few perfume science videos now, and this is going to be another one in the perfume science series. So I'm going to start this video with my thoughts on why I think we love musk. So musk is a smell that makes people think of being close to other people. It feels like a smell that is almost like a continuum of skin. It's something that is very soft, very sensuous. So musks in actual fact share a lot of chemical similarity with compounds that your skin produces. There's evidence to show that women are up to 1,000 times more sensitive to musks than men. Why is that? Because men produce a musky body odour called androstenol. The strength of this odour may act as a way that women can subconsciously guesstimate the testosterone levels of men. So the stronger the odour, the more likely the man is to have a higher testosterone level. Babies also give off a musky smell, and recognising and loving that odour may be a way in which women can bond with their newborn babies. So strangely, mate selection and reproductive success may partially hinge around musk and our sensation of musk odours. As a reflection of this, throughout history, musk has been seen as an aphrodisiac, as something with anti-aging properties, and as something that can overcome infertility and impotence. Musk has an incredibly long history as well. It was first mentioned in the 5th century BCE in the Jewish holy text, the Talmud. And Muslims believe that musk is the odour that the revered will smell in heaven. So what's special about musks in perfume compositions? Well, musk can be defined as an odour that is warm, sensual, and with a sweet, powdery dry down. It's a neutral smell, it's slightly bodily, even slightly sexual. Whilst musk has its own odour, it's also used as a fixative in perfumes, so something to ground the rest of the composition, something to stop the more volatile elements of the composition, so the top notes and the heart notes, from disappearing quite as quickly as they normally would. One of the most famous perfumers, Jacques Guerlain, would always dilute all of his perfumes using a musk tincture rather than a pure perfumer's alcohol, because he wanted that very clean, very powdery nuance to his perfume compositions. Musk aroma chemicals are super special because, as well as being heavy and sticking around, they also soften compositions and they bring out particular nuances and facets of scents, and they just make everything feel a little bit more blended. They can warm compositions, they can add fruity nuances, they can add woodiness, they can add spiciness, and they can add perhaps even floral influences as well. Modern musks can act as top, heart and base notes. They can be anywhere in the composition. So what is musk and where did it originally come from? Well, in the mountains of Asia, people noticed that the male musk deer, Muscus musciferus, which incidentally looks a bit like a vampire version of a deer, it's got fangs and it's got really long ears, produced really pungent secretions at particular times of year. So during the rutting season in January and December, this really strong fragrance was being produced by the male deer to mark the territory and to attract female deer. Actually, if you look at the origin of the word musk, it actually comes from the Sanskrit word mushka, which means testicle. So people became fascinated by this really pungent smell and they wanted to use it themselves. So in China, Nepal and India and other Eurasian countries, the musk deer was hunted for its musk gland. It was hunted to near extinction because of this, and also for its leather and for its hair. So musk was originally harvested from the musk deer by opening the musk gland, and inside the musk gland are things that resemble kind of seeds. They look almost like excrement, basically, like I don't know, like a bigger version of rabbit droppings. Unprocessed, these pods are incredibly unpleasant. So in ancient times, ships would refuse to take these pods because they just stank. They smell like urine. So once the musk is actually extracted from the pods and diluted in alcohol, the magic happens. That's when all of those sort of dirty animalic facets, or most of them, are lost. It's really toned down, and the other nuances of the musk become more prominent. So it becomes warm, sensual, sweet, powdery, and just the magic happens. So throughout history, the demand for musk kept increasing. And since 1 kilo of musk required the killing of between 30 and 40 musk deer, the price of musk reached twice the price of gold. There were huge attempts at captive breeding, but basically captive deer do not produce musk in the same way as wild animals do, so they failed. Musk deer were hunted well into the 20th century, but in 1979 there was some kind of control put in worldwide to try to limit the number of deer that could be hunted per year, and that is still in place. So really, the use of musk in perfumes, natural deer musk, had to stop because there was no source. It's important to note here as well that other animals do produce musks, but in this case we are just talking about deer musk. That is really the traditional use of musk. If you talk about the musk from the civet or the musk from the beaver, those things have very different smells, so civet and castoreum. So now that the musk deer is safe from our hunting and exploitation, what has replaced musk in the world of perfumery? How are we getting musk now? Science and chemistry have stepped in. So as far back as 1888, people were synthesizing synthetic musks. So as with all good chemistry stories, they all happen by accident. Somebody was looking for something else. So Alfred Bauer was looking for an alternative to TNT, so an alternative to dynamite. But he ended up synthesizing something with a really strong musky odour. And, you know, good old 19th century scientists, they love a bit of serendipity. And they thought, right, what can we use this for? I know, let's use it in scents, in perfumes. So he set about trying to make derivatives of this compound, and he actually came up with quite a few. And then he tried to market it, and there was just such a backlash. Perfumers did not want a synthetic musk molecule. They wanted to stick with the traditional, the expensive, the natural deer musk. So it wasn't popular, and it didn't really go anywhere for a number of years. So these original musks were the Nitro musks, and they mimicked the cleaner aspects of natural musk. They were used in perfumery until the 50s, but actually they were found to persist in the environment and to also have effects on fertility through endocrine disruption. And most endocrine disrupting chemicals are now in the process of being banned. Nitro musks have already been banned. So you won't find nitro musks in your perfumes today. Nitro musks were used in perfumes though. Chanel No. 5 used a nitro musk called musk ketone, and obviously that has now changed. Nitro musks were also not ideal for perfumes because nitro musks are incredibly unstable, so they would actually cause the perfume to completely break down. So to better mimic the smell of natural musk, chemists set about trying to look at what the molecule was in natural musk that was causing the musky odour, because, you know, a musk gland is full of fatty components and various different bits that don't really contribute to the nice smell of the musk, which is what is taken away in the processing. So they wanted to look at what particular molecule that produced the smell that we enjoy. So as late as 1906, they finally discovered which molecule that was, and they got the chemical structure. And then in 1926, somebody managed to synthesize the molecule. So that molecule is called muscone, and the guy won a Nobel Prize for it. It was that good. So the discovery of natural musk chemicals paved the way for other musk substances to be identified in nature. So people started looking for these other molecules or similar molecules in other sources. So they started looking in plants, and they found musk-like macrocyclolactones, so just a particular group of chemicals that had musky nuances in plants like galbanum, ambrette, so from musk mallow, and also in angelica root. So why is musk so varied in perfumes? Why does it smell so different? It's because the synthetic musks that have been produced and the natural musks that have been identified in plants are all different molecules. So after the Second World War, chemists managed to synthesize a load of different musks. So they originally started out with polycyclic musks, so multiple ring structures as part of the molecule. And these were found to not be great for the environment. So they persist in the environment just like the nitro musks do, but they haven't been completely banned yet. So you still do get polycyclic musk, but that's really the first generation modern musk. The second generation modern musk is the macrocyclic musk. So macrocyclic means it's a big ring. It's not multiple rings, it's just one big ring. And they have different properties to polycyclic musks. Macrocyclic musks are the newer ones, they're the more expensive ones, they're the more widely used. And the newest generation are the linear musks, the ones with the open structure, the ones where the atoms are in a single line. And these molecules give you the most soft, the most powdery musks. So the final two groups, the macrocyclic musks and the linear musks, are the two groups that can be used as top and heart notes for perfumes. So today there is a huge variety of different musks being used in perfumes, but I'm just going to go through a few examples. I'm going to go through 4 examples, and these are probably 4 of the most commonly used musks in perfumes. So the first one I'm going to talk about is called galaxolide, and galaxolide is a polycyclic musk. It was created in 1954, and it's a sweet floral musk with a powdery, fresh, clean scent, almost like you're opening a tumble dryer and getting out a bed sheet or hanging a bed sheet on a line. That kind of fresh laundry kind of smell. This musk is an incredibly cheap musk, so you can see why it's attractive to perfumers. It lasts very well, it's very potent, and this musk has been used in a lot of different perfumes. So it's been used in Trésor by Lancôme, it's been used in Dune by Christian Dior, and For Her by Narciso Rodriguez, and also White Linen by Estee Lauder, and even Curious by Britney Spears. The second musk I want to talk about is called habanolide, and that is a woodier musk, so that one is often described as smelling like masculine skin. It's also said to have a slightly metallic undertone, almost as if you're ironing a shirt. And habanolide is found in perfumes such as Milky Musk by Palmoir, and also Totally White by Palmoir. So because we're talking about habanolide, let's take a moment to discuss what is white musk. I had no idea what white musk was, and white musk is really the first point at which I think most people would come across musk in perfumery. It's that ubiquitous scent, isn't it? It's the first thing you buy when you're in the body shop. It's the thing that your friend wore, and it's just the thing that I instantly associate with musk. But there are so many definitions of white musk. So I would say there are 3 main definitions, and the one that I believe to be the true definition of a white musk would be the definition of a white musk accord. So Alberto Morillas in 2001 used 2 different types of musk in one of his perfumes. So the perfume was Emporio Armani White for Her, and he used a mix of habanolide, which is a polycyclic musk, with a linear musk. And that meant that the 2 different types of musk used in the fragrance composition produced a really light, airy kind of feel to the perfume, and that was the white musk accord. So this combination of polycyclic and linear musks avoids any kind of anosmia from people. So a lot of people can't smell polycyclic musks. So the second definition of white musk is probably the one that more people are more familiar with. So the second definition is about what you would think of when you think of the Body Shop white musk perfume. So the Body Shop actually created the white musk in, I think, the early 80s or even late 70s. And they based the composition around a mixture of musks. So the mixture of musks they used was again habanolide, but this time with tonalide, which is a more woody, earthy musk. And they also combined it with jasmine, rose and lily of the valley to produce what you would know as white musk, that traditional Body Shop kind of smell. So that's the second definition. And the third definition is the way in which white musk was probably used quite a long time ago. So white musk at one point was used for anything that was made synthetically, anything that wasn't a deer musk, basically. So that definition seems a bit outdated because pretty much all musk is not deer musk anymore. So going back to the musks that are used in modern perfumery, the third one I want to talk about is ambrettolide. So ambrettolide is actually a compound that can be synthesized or can be obtained from ambrette. And it's often used in compositions with violet and iris in fragrances. So ambrettolide has a kind of soapy, fruity, ambery nuance to it. So it really amps up the feeling of violet and iris as well in perfumes. And ambrettolide has probably been used in lots of different fragrances, but the ones that spring to mind are things like Juliet Has a Gun, Pear Ink, also Flamme by Memo Paris, and Aquilina's Pink Sugar Red Velvet. So the last chemical I want to talk about is ethylene brassylate. So ethylene brassylate is the cheapest of the cheap of the synthetic musks. It's something that's really used in detergents quite a bit, but it still is used in perfumery as well, usually in combination with other things. So ethylene brassylate is extremely sweet and it has nuances of vanilla and woods and spices. So finally, I want to talk about why is musk so popular in perfumes? Why is it in so many perfumes? Well, hopefully you can answer this question yourself having watched this video. But basically, perfumers have a lot to choose from. There are so many different musk molecules out there, and they all have different nuances that can really contribute to compositions that can really enhance different aspects of the perfume. So they can be fruity, they can be spicy, they can be woody. Musk can also be a top, heart, or base note. So there's really an endless palette for perfumers to choose from with musk. Musks also make perfumes linger, they make them softer, and they just make them more enticing, basically. The other side of this is that consumers tend to love musks. So musk is really a very important consideration above its just simple use as a fixative, as a base note. It's something that is really important to how a perfume is going to be perceived by the public and how it's going to be formulated. So if you think about the clean musks that are in use today, how similar do you think they are to the old animalic musks that were used? I clearly have never smelt an old deer musk perfume, but I would imagine that deer musk perfumes smelt very, very different to modern musk perfumes. So what do you think? Do you think modern designer perfumery moving away from animalic musks is a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, clearly it's good in terms of the survival of the musk deer, but what about in terms of perfumes? Do you like the animalic kind of fragrance? Have you even smelt that animalic kind of fragrance? I feel like a lot of us won't have smelt that animalic facet because modern designer perfumery has shied away from that. They don't make their perfumes to smell animalic anymore. On the other hand, is the fact that you can't get that from designer perfumes the reason you like niche perfumery so much? So brands like Papillon Perfumery, for example, who sort of market their fragrances around a vintage style, they might produce still ethical musks, but perhaps ones that try to recapture those kind of animalic facets to musk. So if you're looking to find an animalic musk these days, where would you go look? Well, I think from my research, people tend to suggest things like Musc Ravageur by Frederic Malle. They also suggest things like Kiehl's Original Musk. That seems to be described as having an original vintage funk about it, so you might want to check that one out. I think if you don't like vintage fragrances generally, you probably won't want to smell that animalic musk. That's my warning to you. But, you could be discovering a long-term love.
So this is just going to be a little brief one from me, honoured Dr. Claire to be possibly involved with this. It's just musk, isn't it? This is a video Claire's done all about musk. And just going through my experiences with musk, I guess, very briefly. Probably the first time I noticed musk in fragrance is when I first smelled Alien. And like I said, I think I've told this story, it's probably the only thing I've kind of half chased someone down the street and go, "What are you wearing?" Because it was so good, so good. But part of what makes Alien is this white musk. But yeah, anyway, it's what makes that fragrance just so magnificent. And then obviously as I've got more into fragrances, I've discovered more musks, and one of the particular is ambrette. ambrette seed, which is kind of, although it's a plant, has a certain touch of animalicness about it, and it is absolutely bloody magnificent. It's one of them that I describe as my catnip. Makes me go all crazy and funny inside, and it's just absolutely stunning. A truly beautiful musk. That's in things such as Rolling in Love. And what it does is, I don't know what it does. It's like, you know, fingernails down your soft skin, down your spine. It gives you like them tingles and them kind of funny feelings you get, you know, where your nose twitches a little, and it's just a really powerful ingredient. And then there's also, you get more animalic dark musks. Can't think of the top of my head of such fragrances, but they have a slight dirtiness. And obviously they're all synthetic nowadays, but they have this slight dirtiness. Anyway, that's just my little brief experience of musks. Anyway, thanks folks, bye.
So I hope you enjoyed the video. This was just born out of my curiosity and basically me wondering why does musk smell so different in so many different perfumes. So I hope you were as curious as I was, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have enjoyed the video, please press the like button, and please also consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.